I'm Marty Martinez. I'm the Senior Project Coordinator for the Veteran Services Center. And the Veteran Services Center is actually established about 7 years ago, and its main function is to serve our military men and women, veterans, and also military dependents who are coming to the University of Wyoming to assist with the transition process of leaving a very structured military lifestyle and coming here to a very unstructured lifestyle of a student, but also to begin to learn how to interact with the civilian community. So really, this is a very key opportunity for our advisors and for our students to be introduced to the processes associated to college. Many of our students have not had the opportunity in a number of years to experience academia or this type of setting, and so that conversation and that interaction with advisors is going to be critical to them making a very quick and easy adjustment, if you will, to student life. Well, that's kind of a difficult question, because trying to become a VA expert in a short amount of time is probably impossible. I've been at it for 6 years and I'm still learning things every day. But I think the best thing that an advisor can do is to know the experts on campus that can assist our students in understanding their benefits and how to apply them. Myself and also Sarah Morris, who serves as our certifying official in the Student Financial Aid Office, can both assist. So they're always welcome to contact us, to visit with us, or they can also contact the VA directly and ask about certain parts of their benefits. I think what's key for an advisor, possibly if you want to learn more about the VA system, is to just understand that the benefit is a timed benefit. So it's important that our students can get into classes as quickly and easily as possible, that it's only for a certain duration of time. So we have to fit in as much as we can in a short period, but not overload them as well. I think probably an understanding that what you as an advisor are going to be doing for the student veteran is I think probably one of the most important things that's going to happen to that student on this campus. Everything that we do in military and our culture really revolves around trust. And it's going to be incumbent upon you as an advisor to gain that trust, to build that trust, and create that kind of a relationship with the student. That's really done in how you interact with them, the type of conversations that you have, the words that you choose to use. That's going to be very critical for that new student who's been only doing military life, duty, deployments, different things for the last 4 to 6 to 8 years, and now coming here and trying to conform to what's happening on this campus, which might be the first time they've ever been in this type of setting. So you are going to have to, I think, create an opportunity for dialogue where many of our veterans, and understanding our culture is going to be very important too, but many of our veterans are going to come here where they really hadn't matured yet in the military. So they're still waiting for people to tell them what to do. And obviously as advisors, we want our students to make choices, not be told what to do. So you're going to have the opportunity to provide complete information, give them the best possible information they can so they can make a very well and informed decision. That's going to be critical, but a lot of them will have to know how to do that. And that's going to be incumbent upon your dialogue to teach them that. And that's a very good question. And obviously, our veteran students are going to face many of the same challenges that all students face in coming to our campus and experience something new for the first time. But then you add to that things specific to our community. We're going to be a little bit older. And so obviously being called a freshman when you're 29 years old and being put into the freshman class of 18 and 19-year-olds is going to create certain challenges socially, interactive challenges with a person much younger with much less life experience, even dealing with graduate students that they are much older than and have a lot more life experience than. Even dealing with instructors that they might even be older than. So a lot of those things will begin to create some stress, some opportunities to deal with stress that we're not used to. In the military, we all lived with stress. We understood it. It became a part of our mission and a way of our life. But dealing with it in this type of environment is completely new and different to us. So how we release that stress, how we vocalize it, how we show it is what we in the Veteran Center try to work a lot with, or to work out with our students to get them to understand the right way to do that on this campus. That creates certain challenges, obviously. Coming here with certain disabilities that maybe aren't the most visible disabilities. Some of our veterans will report, obviously, with the very visible type of disability that people would associate to military life. But a lot of that also is anger management, stress management. It's going to be things such as post-traumatic stress, things such as traumatic brain injury. All those things that can, a certain individual might come here from the military thinking, I've dealt with it, I know how I work with it and how to deal with it. But when you're put in this environment again, which we're not used to, we have to learn a different way. And sometimes that just takes time. So I think those types of challenges are the things that our folks are going to face the most. Obviously, coming from a guaranteed paycheck where they might be living maybe not real well, but well enough. And then suddenly losing that income and coming here as a student and trying to live as a student and function as a student on a very limited paycheck, obviously then does create another set of challenges. So the great thing to remember for our advisors is that while those students are dealing with that, military teaches us not to always raise our hand and say we have a problem. We try to deal with it on our own. Again, it just accentuating the problem, the challenge, the stress. So just knowing that the Veteran Services Center is here, we have a lot of resources available to us on campus as well as within our region, from the VA and other organizations that have programs and services to support our veterans in those times. Just knowing that they can come to us and connect and we can help with those resources. As I sat and tried to think of this, I came up with about 1 million don'ts. And then I really didn't want to focus on that. I'd rather focus on the great things that we can do. But I will touch on just a couple things. I'll tell you one great thing that can be done is we have little books. It's called Military and Veteran Culture. It's just a little handbook that for a person who's never entered military service or spent time in a military family would have no idea how a military individual thinks, acts, or reacts. And this just kind of introduces you to that culture, that lifestyle, and maybe can give you an insight to the individual you might be working with who's had military service. In terms of the conversation piece, there's certain things that should never be asked of a veteran. Things that are common sense, but it will blow you away to realize how many times it's still asked today. Something as simple and to us as negative as, have you ever killed someone? So when you were in combat, what did you do? You should never ask those things. And when you think about it and apply it to other cultures, there's obvious questions that we would never ask of any other culture of student. And so that's really just that respectful piece for a veteran. Allowing the conversation to grow based upon trust. So not just walking in and assuming that this individual is going to tell me everything. Sometimes for a veteran, that trust is the most important part of a conversation and most important part of a relationship. And as it grows, they may be willing to share a little bit more with you, providing more insight to the struggle, the challenge, or the successes that they're having. I'm going to just ask every person, please don't assume. We try as hard as we can as professionals on this campus to never assume anything about a student. We don't live by stereotypes. But there are so many stereotypes about a veteran. As soon as you see them walk in with that big bushy beard and their hat and they've got that attitude, we immediately think, oh my God, I'm looking at a PTS-driven, angered vet who's ready to explode. And that's probably the furthest thing from it. We deal with each other in a certain way in our culture. We're very face-to-face, we're very direct, and we know that's how we do business. For a lot of us, that's the only way we can communicate. I was in the military for 29 years. Coming here and trying to have that soft conversation on day one was impossible. It took my boss a year to help me understand how to drive that conversation. So the first conversation you have with a veteran does not imply anger or distress or anything else. It just probably means they haven't learned how to communicate yet. So just take your time with them, be respectful, honor their service just by being respectful. I think that's the best thing. I will caution you this, that some veterans even find when a person who has no connection to the military says, well, geez, I really appreciate your service. They'll question that. If you have no idea what it is and you really don't care about it, how can you say thank you? So that can even be maybe the second time or a little ways into the conversation. Just a lot of those things that veterans come with. We can help you to understand. We can work with it. We can provide some extra training if you feel you would like to have that at the Veterans Center. Just contact us. Let us know. I have a wonderful packet I can put together and come over and talk to you about. And it does cover a lot of the do's and don'ts. Some of the great things about veterans is they come here. They're very committed. They know what they want, and they chose this school, and they chose the degree program that they've entered into. They want to get a degree, and they want to go to work. So they're just looking at you to help them just cross the T's, dot the I's, and get underway. I think probably the most important thing to know is they're just like any other person coming here. Some of them have families, so they have other things that are going to be taxing on their time. They're a non-traditional student, so they're like all the other non-traditionals. This might be their first time at coming to college, so they're going to be just like all the traditionals. They'll have the same questions, the same anxieties, and for a lot of us, the same fears in coming here. This, to me, after 29 years of doing my thing in the military, this was the most intimidating experience of my life. So it will be for many of them too. I would just like to just say one more thing about the most important thing that you should know about a veteran is that not every veteran appreciated their service. So when you say things like, thank you, or boy, it's fantastic, or I bet you just, you know, every day was, for some of them it may not have been. Some of them had very bad experiences there, where there might have been a loss of a friend, a combat experience, or even a training accident, or even something that happened to them on active duty or in the National Guard that changed their view of service. So just be respectful of those things. And I can't talk enough about respect. I had a student ask me one time, how do I speak to a veteran? And I said, well, you're talking to one right now. And the second thing I told her was, think of a veteran sometimes as your older brother or your father in some cases. But think about that. And how would you address them if they were standing in front of you? If you knew they had just gone through service, but you didn't know what it was like, you would take your time and you would be gentle and you would walk into that conversation easily, slowly, and cautiously. And that's really, when you're dealing with that part, that's really how you should treat our veterans. But understand, you're the expert and they're coming to you for answers. So when it gets time to talk about their program, what classes to take, they're expecting the best treatment from you and the truest, most timely, and most effective answers from you as you can deliver. I served 29 years assisting men and women in the military and their families. When I retired, I came here 10 days after my retirement. So that was the length of being a retired guy for me. But the next day I started helping military men and women and their families. That's what I know to do, that is what I want to do, and that's what I enjoy doing. The most I guess the best part and rewarding part of this job is just that. It's the students. I'm sorry to say it's not this institution. It's the students. And it's also helping people like all the advisors that I'm speaking to and everyone else that has never had a chance to experience military culture in life to understand how to connect and work with a veteran, to make their life, that veteran's life, the best that it can be. Connecting back home, coming back from service, is a tough thing to do sometimes. And really, this is where it can begin for many of them. To be able to be comfortable with the people on this campus is going to teach them how to be comfortable in the jobs they go to, the communities they will live in, and even the families they came here from or with. So this is an opportunity for me to affect a lot of different things, a lot of different communities and families and veterans. And so I appreciate the opportunity to do it. And if I can assist anybody out there in making the life of a veteran better, then I'm willing to do that. So yes, obviously there's a ton more things I could sit here and talk to you about, But one thing that I will tell you about this institution, and one of the things I'm very proud of with this institution, is the fact that we are opening a brand new Veterans Center. This was something that's been about 4 years in the works, but it is really going to place us above so many other schools in our region. While a lot of schools can talk about an area for their veterans to congregate, an office, or a large office, we're one of the few in the country that can say we actually have a student center. The center is focused to be a second home and possibly even a first home to many of our veterans who are coming here. I would offer an opportunity and an invitation to all of our advisors to come by and see it. The center is special because of the way it was built, because of the design was made for veteran students, not just a student, but veteran students. And if you can understand the layout of that center, you'll begin to understand the mindset of our veteran community here, and how we support each other, how we look after each other, and how we want this experience for every veteran coming here to be the very best it can be. This center will give our program an opportunity to reach out and help so many more in so many different ways. And the advisors are going to be a very big part of that. So I'm happy to have this opportunity to talk with you, to share a little bit of our experience with you, and to offer any training that we can or assistive conversation with you just to help you understand our community better.